So you're a homeowner, and everywhere on the news or online, you keep hearing how great a time it is to sell a property, to sell your home, because property values are exponentially higher than they were in the past. So when you think about that, you're like, okay, great, I can sell my property, but now what? What do I do? How do I maneuver around this journey to selling my home and figuring out what to do to move? So this video is going to be basically 7 things that you have to look at before you make that move. And there's some solutions to the move, and there's some other things to think about because I think at the end of the day, this will give you much more perspective on your move, whether it's in Miami where our team is or anywhere else in the country. And if you need help in other areas, our team is always happy to help connect you to the right person. And so let's start. The first thing is I have a list of 7 things, so I'm going to share my screen with you, and that should definitely help. And if you want to see this list, I'll share the link with you, so you don't need to copy it. Okay, so the first thing is if you're thinking about selling your home, before you do anything, you need to start looking early. You need to go online and make sure there are homes that work for you, whether it's in your area or whatever area you plan on moving to, whether you're going to buy, rent, or whatever you're going to do. Make sure that there are properties that exist that will work for you. Because just like how your property went up in value, there's a chance that the area that you're looking at, the values are quite different than when you last looked in that area. So make sure that you look at the rentals and the sales depending on what you want to do. Because if you don't do that, the last thing you want to do is get your home on the market, spend a lot of time doing that, and then, you know, being excited about selling your property and then having nowhere to go. You need to find out what your options are first before you even contact a real estate agent, put your home on the market, or anything else. You have to make sure that there are properties that will work for you and your family, or just for you, depending on who the other decision makers are. It sounds obvious, but this is my 18th year doing this, and there have been many, many times when people didn't even think about this when we were going through, the journey prior to going through the journey. What our team does is we try and set up your expectations for the future, because no matter who you're buying with, the odds are that this journey of selling a home and buying one or renting one or even moving in with a family member, it's going to be a roller coaster ride. There are going to be days that you are super excited about doing it, and there are going to be days that you want to tell your family or tell your real estate agent, forget it, we don't want to move anymore. And that's okay. If your agent is a good agent, they're going to support your decision throughout. And there are going to be days that you get mad at your agent, and a lot of times it's going to be for no reason because it's an emotional decision. And our team realizes that, and we're okay with it, because at the end of the day, we need to make your journey as stress free as possible, and that's why you're hiring us to do it. Okay, so the first thing, like I said, start looking early. I should have prefaced this before with a question that I often get asked. Question I get asked all the time is, when is the best time to sell a property or to move, to buy a property or to sell a property? We get asked that all the time. So the answer is pretty simple. It may sound obvious, but it's simple. The best time is when it's the best time for you, because it doesn't matter what the market is doing. If once you make the move, it's a difficult situation for you or your family. Um, you want to make sure that, you know, it's funny because in any sales thing for a big ticket item, whether you're buying a car or you're buying a home, human nature is to do it in a way where we don't usually think of it. So when we like something, and whether it is a home or a car or something that's expensive, a boat or something like that, we look at things emotionally, and then after we make that decision, we try and justify it logically. Meaning, If you find a place that you like, most people, they really like it, they don't mind paying more for that property if they really like it, and then trying to figure out later how to explain it. Like maybe they'll say, oh, we're going to be in the property a long time, or we were going to do these renovations, or whatever it is. But the problem is, a lot of people, when they're thinking about properties, they're thinking about it logically before they start the process, and that's not usually the case with big ticket items. So make sure that you first see if it's a good time for you and your family, or if it's just you, and also, that will always be the best time to buy or sell, when it just feels right. It doesn't matter what the market is, to a degree. Obviously, the market makes a difference, but if it's not the right time for you mentally, emotionally for you, or any other decision makers, it's not the best time to do it. It has to feel right. Okay. So with that said, if it feels right, you first start looking at your options. The next thing you need to do is, so at Compass, our team, we have this option. It's the HGTV solution to maximizing your dollar. And it's not branded HGTV. Basically, HGTV, I just use that as a way of explaining it. They have nothing to do with this process. But I'm sure a lot of you have gone on TV, on cable or internet or whatever, and watch these shows, whether they're on HGTV or they're on another channel or on YouTube or whatever, where you see someone come to a house. You have a seller selling their home, and on these shows, they have an expert come to the house. They look at the property, and they spend a minimal amount of money compared to the price of the home, and then they get significantly more money for the home, whether it's renovating a bathroom, a kitchen, doing the floors, painting, maybe it's staging the property, maybe it's a combination of all these things. Pretty much, I would say 99.99% of people know that if you have an expert that tells you what to do, and you stage the home and you make it look like, basically a model home for a new development, you're going to get a lot more money. The problem is, most people don't have the money, the liquid money to do it. And if they're buying a house, and if they are financing, they don't want to maximize their credit cards because it may lower their score, it may give them a higher rate, they may not qualify. So everyone knows pretty much that if you make these renovations or you make these slight adjustments, you can make significantly more. But what happens is, a lot of times people don't have the money to do it, so they end up selling it as is, and then the person that's making the money is the person that buys it that has the money. At Compass, we don't think that's fair. We think the seller should make it. So we have a program called Compass Concierge. And basically what we do is, I don't know if you guys could hear all these text messages, these notifications. I hope you aren't, but I'm getting a ton of texts. I think it's my wife. But anyways, I'll continue. So basically, at Compass, we can bring in experts, or you can ask your friends, relatives. You can do a Google search or a Yelp search and find out, find the experts that you think, or have us suggest them. It doesn't matter. And then we will have those experts come to the property. They'll give their suggestions, and Compass will front the money at 0% interest. So let me give an example. Say you have a home, you want to sell it, it's 800,000, and we have these professional people come in, whether it's someone that you recommend, or it's someone, or that we recommend, whoever it is, and they say, okay, for your $800,000 place, if we invest like, $30,000, we can improve a couple bathrooms, we can do the floors or whatever it is, and we will do some painting, staging, whatever the case is, and we will get, instead of the 30,000, we'll get an extra 80,000 for the property. That's between the realtor and then the people doing the work, and based on what the inventory is and all that, you see you can definitely make more money, an extra 50K after paying the expenses. So at that point, normally you have to have the money or something in place where you can do it. At Compass, we have Compass Concierge. And what Compass Concierge does is Compass would front load the money, meaning they would pay for all those things. And at closing, you would pay off the balance. You could, again, you can use whoever you want. You would pay off the balance, get the extra 50K and move on. So the investor won't get the money, you'll get the money. So that's one of the things you can do to maximize the money. So for your next property, you'll have more money to buy that home or have a bigger down payment. Another thing is, so like in this case, Compass typically gives you 5% of the value for these other for the renovation staging and other stuff. There are a few minor details um, that I would be happy to share with you, and they're very minor. But so in this case, you do that, and say in this case it's 800,000, and you qualify for the 5%, the 40,000. Um, what you would do is at that 40,000, and say it costs 30,000, you'd still probably apply for the 40,000, and then so in case during the inspection something comes up, say you need like $5,000 worth of work for the roof for something else, and you're going to lose the deal, you could use that money to help with the inspections and keep the deal flowing. So that'll definitely help. Excuse me one second. My Nest was actually came on my camera. But anyways, I keep digressing, so sorry about that. So Compass Concierge, we can definitely help you get a ton of money in your pocket. It's not required, but we have so many people, taking advantage of it, and it definitely helps them get more money. Just give you a quick example. I had a property for sale in Palmetto Bay. The home would have probably been worth about 500,000, give or take, maybe 520. And we did Compass Concierge. They spent 7 grand staging the house. The owners had a little bit of money where they were able to make some renovations on the house. And instead of getting like 515 or five, whatever, low 500s, we got 615, and they didn't spend that much money. They got significantly more. They took advantage of the Compass Concierge program, and it benefited everyone, including the buyer, because you got to keep in mind, even though the seller's getting more, the buyer, if that home is ready to go, people are so used to watching HGTV and seeing these turnkey homes. Nowadays, no one really wants fixer-uppers because the interest rates are so low. You can borrow the money to pay very little to have that updated home rather than spending money out of pocket to fix up a home. So it's definitely a win-win for both parties. So number three, so say you need to sell your house, but you need to get the equity out of your house to buy the next house. What should you do? Well, in the past, we would have to say, like, okay, well, I got to sell it, then I got to time it for the next one, and it's going to be a really, really tough situation. But we have programs. Compass is affiliated with a few different companies where you can get the equity out of your house before you sell it to put in an offer on another home. So basically, you can put in a cash offer on the next home without selling your home first. And at it's a little bit complicated, and I don't want to like get into the weeds because I have 7 of these different things, and I spent a lot of time on number two just now. But at the end of the day, we have a program. If you want to sell your house, you need to get the equity out of your home to buy the other home. We have a program that would work where you can get the equity out of your home, put a cash offer on the next home, make your offer look substantially better than having a contingency that says you have to sell your home in order to buy that next one. And we also have like a guaranteed way that you would sell the house, so you wouldn't be stuck with 2 mortgages. It's something that if you're interested in, just reach out to me, and I'll be able to connect you with the right person to give you all the details. Okay, so number four, because sellers right now are in the driver's seat, we have such little inventory in the market. You could do a delayed closing. So say you have you know, this is my 18th year doing this, and I may have mentioned that, but we've never ever had this little inventory in my time I've been doing selling real estate in South Florida for the last 17 and a half, 18 years. And so what that does is it gives them leverage. Um, so the seller could pick and choose to get a better offer. So in this case, for the delayed closing, it's a lot of buyers that are putting in offers because they're not putting in cash offers, because they have contingencies on their offers, because they're not paying what they need to pay for their offer, to get the property, they're losing out on homes that they like. Their offers are going in, and because they're not informed correctly, a lot of times they're putting in 5, 10, 15 offers and not getting a home. And the first thing is our team is like really, really good at this aspect of the buying process. We have a few things that pro tips that we have that really work well, so that helps. So the offers would be significantly less. And but besides that, because the seller has leverage in this case, because there's very little inventory, a lot of times if you can like tell the buyer that, okay, we will do this sale 5-day closing, we need to do a 90 or 120-day closing or whatever the number is. And typically, if you ask, a lot of times in this market, the buyers are very flexible on it. In a normal market, not really, but in this market, definitely. Okay, so number five, um, you can do a post-occupancy agreement. So what does that mean? So you can do a closing, and then the seller can allow you to stay in the unit. It can be part of the transaction, the offer. So say a buyer really wants your place and they say they're in South Florida. I'll give you an example. In Miami, we have like if I have 10 clients that are buying properties here, I would say probably like 4 to 5 to 6 are from California, and then maybe 1 to 2 are from other parts to the country. And like, so there's something called a feeder market. Feeder markets are where people are coming to move to your area, and I'm always keeping track of these feeder California. That's a huge market for us now. That never existed before, but that is huge now. People are trying to save taxes. They're working remotely. There are multiple reasons. So California is really big. The Northeast has always been big for Miami. So New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Boston as well, Washington, D.C. I know this isn't all like Northeast, but just different areas of the East Coast. And then Chicago has always been big. So we're always getting a lot of these people from other areas of the country. So with that said, in Miami, and depending on your area, if you're getting a lot of relocation from people, a lot of times people want to buy a property, but they don't need to really move in yet, but they want to buy the property because it's one less for them. So what'll happen is in many cases, the seller, because like I mentioned, you have leverage. What you can do is you can say, okay, we're gonna accept the offer. We'll do the closing when you want, but in order to accept your offer and not the other 4 or 5, we need for you to allow us to stay in the unit. So there are different ways of doing that. So one way is to negotiate that post occupancy and agreement. It could be a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, whatever it is between the two parties, whatever your agreement is. And so you can negotiate that within the price upfront, where, okay, this is the price of the property, but you need to allow us to stay in the unit for so and so time. Or and you'd probably write a lease there. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but if your agent is experienced, they would know exactly what to do. And or instead of it being negotiated in the price, you can do a lease after and there's a price involved. The other lease could be that there's like you put maybe $1 or whatever, just to basically no a very low amount just to show that there's a lease, or you can have a real lease and it could be maybe you don't know how long the post occupancy is going to be, meaning after you sell it, how long you're going to live in the home that you just sold is going to be because you're looking for a home or whatever, and the buyer's flexible. You could have a certain rental amount per day, week, month, whatever, however you want to do it. So that's another thing you can do. So number six, potential investor situation. In our market, and I'm pretty sure many markets in the US, a lot of investors are buying properties. So so what should you do? So like in this case, if you're looking at the offers, so one of the things to know is when you're selling your property, it's to get to know what's going on with the transaction. Meaning you don't need to know exactly, you don't, there's something called fair housing, and we don't want to discriminate in any way on the buyer, but it's nice to know if it's an investor or an end user on the property. Because if it is an investor, you can potentially say that, we will rent out, we'll sell you the home, we'll rent the property from you after we close for this much per week or month or week or daily, monthly, weekly, however you do it, just like I was saying in number five. And it'll give you time to try and find that other property so you can close on that and then move out, and it'll be much less stress. So that would be, these things aren't guaranteed, but it's always good to ask because a lot of times when some of our clients didn't know that these options existed, we asked, and it was crazy that they were okay with it. So you got to ask. So the last one, you could ask for a short term or a longer term rental. So what does that mean? When I say ask, basically said it incorrectly. You can get a short term or a longer term rental. So basically, that means is you can sell your property prior to selling your property, and knowing that the properties that you want exist. You could give yourself a little bit more, you can make yourself a little bit more stress-free by doing like a short-term rental on a property. There are a ton of Airbnbs throughout the country. You can find out how much it costs to rent a property for per month or per week or however long it is, and then factor that into the sale price of your home and see if it makes sense. So I'll give you an example. So say you want to sell your property and you think realistically it's going to take you maybe 3 or 4 months, say 4 months, once your property is under contract, you think it'll probably take about 4 months for you to find a place. So I would, look online for for places that do short-term or longer-term rentals, meaning like Airbnb, Verbo, or these other companies that do short-term rentals. You can just Google it in your area, short-term rental, or rentals in your area, and then you'll find a bunch of different management companies or Airbnb or Verbo, VRBO, that will do these. So before putting your house on the market, try and get an idea of how much it costs per month. So in this case, say you think it's going to take about 4 months, you find out that a short-term rental, will cost 7,000 a month. You figure it's going to be about 4 months to do it, so it's 28,000. Say you want to be conservative, you put 30,000, and then you factor in a 30,000 expense to whatever price you're going to put your home on the market. And in the past, we'd say like it's crazy to just add these numbers on, but I'll tell you this, um, you'll be so surprised how much your home is worth. And I would recommend, so if you're in Miami, you're in South Florida, feel free to reach out, whether it's Broward County, Dade County, Palm Beach County, reach out to me or our team, and we'll tell you what your home is worth, and you'll be shocked how much it's worth. It's worth probably more than what you think it is. And there's probably a lot of these options that we can use to help get you to your next move, to the next place you want, if that's what you want. Hopefully this helped. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or reach out to the team. And thanks as always for watching. And if you like our videos and you want to, and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And if you like our videos and you want to see them as soon as they are released, make sure to hit that notification bell and hit the like button. It'll help our videos go out to more people that like this type of content. Thanks so much. All the best. Love you guys. Take care.